What's up, you guys? Thank you for clicking on this video, and oh man, we have some crazy news and information to cover in this video, so sit on back, grab a snack, and listen to me ramble. So, the Transformers Binder of Revelation has been posted in full online. So this is essentially, for those who don't know, this is what is considered the Transformers Bible within the fandom and within Hasbro internally for the last about 15 years, I'd say, since around 2010. And this book is specifically attached to the aligned continuity and various other Transformers projects over the last 15 years, where they give people working on these projects, whether it's the director, the writers, or whatever, they give this book and say, here, go crazy with whatever story you want to make based off of what's in this book. And now we have this thing in full. So I'm going to be talking about some stuff a little bit here in this book that I found in this video, and I'm going to be doing a bunch of topics on this book in the future, guys, so stay tuned. Like, there is a lot of juiciness to talk about here for months. You know, it's going to get pretty crazy here on the channel. So I was scrolling through the boards on the talk about this Transformers Bible here, and Nem on the boards put some additional context as to the information behind this Binder of Revelations and how this was leaked. So he says here, for a bit of additional context, the Binder was leaked about a year ago in the TF Wiki Discord before being pretty quickly hushed because obviously it's a sensitive document. It wasn't like an outright secret, I think, just heavily discouraged from sharing. I'm not sure of the full story. Regardless, I now have it on good authority that the initial source of this particular leaked file does in fact want it out there for all to see, hence why it's now here. So pretty interesting. I honestly want to say I did hear about this TF Wiki Discord binder leak last year, but I don't want to say for sure. I think I remember seeing this somewhere on the boards, but I don't know. Maybe I'm just mixing something up. It could have been just something else I'm thinking of. But that's pretty crazy that this has actually been in the possession of certain people within the Transformers fandom, but it was being gatekept for like a year. You know, that happens a lot with leaked info and figures and information on production of stuff. That happens more than you guys probably think in like Discord groups. I'm not surprised at all. There is a couple things from this book that I want to cover right off the bat here in this video. Obviously, I'm not going to go through everything because that would be like an additional 3 hours worth of talking, and that's going to be cut across between a lot of videos in the coming weeks and months here on the channel, so stay tuned for that, guys. Somebody noticed something interesting about the movie timeline during The Last Night and Age of Extinction and stuff like that. So it says here, while no formal ties are established, the United States once again opened up lines of dialogue with the Autobots. And then it says, in 2018, Prime's journeys through space bring him into contact with many other Cybertronians. And then it goes on to say, Megatron is reanimated but is forced into a 3-year exile, which he uses to learn more about the Autobots' plans. And then it says, a conflict erupts on Earth between remaining Autobots led by Bumblebee, Decepticons, and Beast Transformers. And then it also says, forced to return, Optimus Prime once again leads his forces to victory, but in the process he unwillingly releases Unicron. So this seems to be a little bit of cut plot from The Last Night, a little bit of context that would have been nice to actually see explained in the movie. And also, this kind of sets up some story beats for the canceled sequel to The Last Night that would have came out in summer of 2019. So, I guess let's talk about the first thing here, that the US government opened up lines of dialogue with the Autobots again. So this must have been after Age of Extinction, and honestly, I want to know why they kind of added this in this book, because it wasn't explained at all in The Last Night that this happened at all. So it's just kind of a random piece of info that was dropped here. It's really interesting because I don't think we ever heard about hearing this piece of info here in terms of plot with that pocket of movies in the last night and stuff. So I honestly want to know why there was another fallout between the United States and the Autobots and the Transformers and so on. Because after Age of Extinction, you would think everything would get resolved, but it obviously didn't, which is why the TRF came about. So I really want to know what was Hasbro and Paramount's plan, internally as to why the U.S. government and the Autobots, again, were at odds with each other and enemies by the time the last night rolled around, because it obviously was not explained in that movie, among many other things that wasn't explained, unfortunately, which is why the movie is absolute freaking garbo. And Prime's journey in space is another thing we were robbed of in that era of Transformers movies. They show him floating in space for literally 15 seconds in the movie, and he just randomly lands on Cybertron and talks to Quintessa, who just happens to be at the core of Cybertron for reasons that, again, isn't explained. And I want to know, what other Cybertronians did he meet that Hasbro had in mind here as to why they felt the need to add this sentence here in the Transformers Bible? Are they talking about other primes that he met? Are they talking about other Autobot or Decepticon generals? Are they talking about Transformers on other planets like Velocitron and Gigantian and stuff like that? I mean, because that is something that is also mentioned in this book that I'm going to cover in a later video. But that opens up the line for a lot of possibilities as to what they mean by Optimus coming into contact with many other Cybertronians in his journey in space. And then the whole Megatron is reanimated thing, again, it would have been nice to get this explained in the last night as to why he went from Galvatron to Megatron in between the two films. So it seems like the 3-year time gap between Age of Extinction and the last night is why he learned the information about Unicron, Quintessa, why he has that red mark on his face, which still almost 10 years later isn't fully explained as to why he has that red mark on his face. I don't know, maybe there's a piece of information that I don't know about that was explained, but I'm pretty sure we still don't know why Megatron has the same red mark on his face as Optimus in that movie. So it really makes you wonder, what did he actually learn and where did he actually travel to get all that information and to get that red mark on his face? Did he get to Cybertron before Optimus? Who knows? Like, there's a lot of possibilities, and it really sucks it wasn't explained at all. And again, what the hell is this conflict on Earth that they're talking about that erupted between the Autobots, Decepticons, the Beast Transformers, which was cut from the last night? We do have concept art of a snake transformer, Cheetor, and Optimus Primal, and there's also a little bit of an update that I'll get into about those characters from the last night from this book here. I want to know, why the hell would they cut the Beastformers out of this movie in favor of knights, of all things, and in World War II Transformers fighting and stuff like that? It just makes no sense to me. I mean, the Beastformers would have been a way easier sell for that movie than all the other crap that they just clustered into that film for no reason. And it would add so much more weight and context to the movie if they explained the conflict that erupted on Earth, other than, oh, there's so many Transformers coming to Earth, do you want to know why they're here, dude? And, all those stupid lines from Anthony Hopkins and the U.S. government and the military and stuff. It was just crazy. And speaking of the last night and Beast Transformers that were cut from that movie, we have more images and concept art of Optimus Primal and Cheetor from that movie almost 10 years later, which is amazing to see. So first up, Optimus Primal, who is listed as an Autobot here. This is pretty crazy. This is actually a pretty drastically different design from what we saw in the concept art that's been made available to the public the last 7-8 years. So I am really curious as to if this was the final design or if this was an earlier concept art and the one that we've been seeing the last 7-8 years was the final design, because they did use a lot of those cues of that design that we've had for years in his Rise of the Beast appearance and look. So I honestly don't know. I'd assume the other one was his final design that they chose for the last night, but this one looks a lot more menacing and just, a bit more Bayified, if that makes sense. And it's kind of crazy that these are Autobots. They're not labeled as Maximals, so it seems like they were taking more of the Unicron trilogy approach to this, in terms of the lore with Beast Transformers. So it means probably there would have been Beast Planet and stuff like that. I mean, we already got Beast Planet in Rise of the Beast, but there were Maximals and Predacons. It was a bit more of that Beast Wars lore with these characters, and it seems like, just going by Optimus Primal and Cheetor here being labeled as Autobots, that they may be going for more of the Unicron trilogy style of the Beast Formers, but I could be wrong on that. And Cheetor, he looks cool. I mean, this is pretty similar to the design we had during that concept art press release, or whatever you call it, from like 7-8 years ago with The Last Night. But it is different again, similar to Primal. Like, there's a lot more yellow on him. There's green on him this time around, which seems to be a reference to his Transmetal and his Beast Machines look, which is pretty crazy. I mean, the live-action look of Cheetor does look a lot like Beast Machine, so it would make sense that there would be green on him. I wish that was something that carried over to his actual Rise of the Beast design. But, there's spots on him, there's yellow and brown. It really does look like they were delving heavy into that Beast Machine's look for Cheetor, because that's basically his color scheme: brown, yellow, and green. So I'm really surprised by that. And this design looks pretty close. Not the colors, obviously, but the design itself. It does look just a little bit closer to his look from Rise of the Beast. I could be wrong on that. I got to compare the two designs, but just going by memory here, that's what it seems like to me. So, and just real quick here, for yits and giggles in this video, they threw up an E-tier character profile for Sentinel Prime. I guess he's considered, bottom of the barrel as a character to use, even though he's been in a lot of media the last 15-20 years. But I digress. I just really found his design interesting here, because it's the aligned continuity / Prime sort of design style, but they're using his animated look. It's not anything from IDW or the movies. It is strictly his animated design put through that Transformers Prime design lens, and this looks freaking fantastic. But yeah, let me know down below, what do you guys think about this new Transformers movie information that was revealed in this book and Sentinel Prime's design here? And yeah, guys, thank you for watching this video. Catch y'all in the next one. Bye.